Hi everyone, welcome to our next episode of Talking, Teaching and Tech. I'm Fiona.
And I'm Greg.
And today we're going to follow on from a little bit that we started to talk about last time, which was thinking about Chrissy Butler's idea of moving away from learning support and thinking about support for learning. So, Greg, you're going to get us started?
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that, Fiona, and I'm thinking all the work that we do with all the schools and teachers and families across the whole Asia Pacific region. There's three things that three issues that come up when we're working in schools, and that's around how students access their learning. All the different ways of accessing using tech, particularly how they get to what they have to get to, and then once they've done that, how they've accessed their learning content. Then how do they process what they're getting, what they're reading, what they're taking in, and reflect and kind of engage with that material. And then the big piece, as we know, is then how do they demonstrate their understanding? How do they express their understanding? It's more than just sitting in an exam, isn't it? It's kind of a whole bunch of other stuff. And all the work that we do around those issues, we know that what the best way to address that is through universal design for learning. And we've got, and I'm just going to bring it up, we've got our own website. On our website, sorry, we have a link where we've actually looked at specifically UDL, Universal Design for Learning, in relation to the tools we use here at Texthelp. How Universal Design for Learning is a really important way for us to ensure that our classroom and our schools are actually. It's actually about preparing the environment, not repairing it, having things set up in advance that we've given our students multiple options to engage with their learning, multiple options to access their learning, and multiple options for expression. That's what Universal Design for Learning is all about. So if anyone goes to I don't know how we'll do this, Fiona. This link. We'll work out some way that we'll actually have this. We'll put this link up at the bottom of the screen when we get a chance to our on our website around UDL, because when you go there, you've got and you can see that I'm scrolling. Okay, you can see all that. Yep, good. So we get to see. You can kind of check it out. It's all there in one place. Where what is UDL, the kind of the guiding principles behind it all, just for people who want to dive a bit deeper. But if you scroll right down, there's a really great video here from Hobsonville Point Secondary School in Auckland, where they really do explore how they're using UDL, putting it into practice, and using Read and Write, our literacy tool, Read and Write. And it's an awesome video to watch. I'm not going to show it now, but folks can go there and check it out, because we have a whole bunch of tools, don't we, that all our tools really address universal design for learning. So it's just key to everything we do. So I was thinking about that, as we're doing this short second episode of Talking, Teaching and Tech. So my question back to you is, thinking all that and going through all that stuff, can you what's an idea? Give me one example of how one of our tools kind of really looks at how we can give kids multiple ways to engage with their learning material, multiple ways they can access their learning material, and multiple ways they can demonstrate understanding. So this is my little throw at you. Is there a way of doing that?
That was very slick, very slick. Yeah. So I guess for me, one of the things that I was thinking about was maths, and it's forefront of my mind, as you know, because I'm doing a bit of work on maths at the moment. Yes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the EquatIO math space. Can you see that all okay?
Yeah, okay. Yep. So this is our EquatIO. This is our numeracy tool called EquatIO, and you're in the math space section of it.
Yes, so EquatIO is a toolbar that you can see at the bottom of your screen, but it also has this absolute as you know, my favorite part of it is a web application. That's you can go to equatio.texthelp.com, and that's where you have all these math spaces. Now, this is one of my math spaces, and I've set it up because I'm doing some work around fractions at the moment. And the thing that I was thinking about, fractions is one of those really hard things where we want to give students all different ways to be able to show, break things up. We want them to be able to do it hands-on, whether they have cookies that they can cut up with Play-Doh, or whether they're breaking up pieces of paper, cutting them up, doing whatever. But it's a really hard thing to do digitally. So I was having to think, well, what could we do? And the really nice thing about the math space is it gives us multiple ways to be able to do that. So being the primary school teacher that I am, I had to use a real cookie. And we've got some, this problem that we'd share with the kids, that we've got these 3 little people who want to be able to have an equal part of this cookie. And we want to be able to give them multiple digital ways to be able to break that cookie apart. And the thing that I love about EquatIO is that it does that. So the toolbar at the bottom, if I go to my second page of my math space, I've got a range of tools that I can use. So I could use my freehand drawing tool, and I could split my cookie up. Now I'm trying to make it 3 ways. So let's just say I went like that, and I'm like, well, that's not 3 ways. What can I do? Here's another cookie. I'm going to try my freehand, and I can go along and I can have my experiments and do my thing and see how I'm going. Are they equal parts? I love that I can just keep going with that. So I can actually copy and then go to another page and paste it, and there's my cookie again, and I can just keep going. I might want to use one of these smart shapes. So another student might decide that they can use the smart shape and draw that over the top of the cookie.
So as you're doing this, so what could happen? You could have, in math space, you could have actually shared this this problem with your class, and because you've got those multiple pages, but when you share it with your students, and they could all then share their thinking, their solutions, how they've tackled this problem. And EquatIO has so many different tools. They've got a whole bunch of ways they can demonstrate the same thing.
Absolutely. And then if I wanted to write my fractions, I've got all of these different ways to be able to do it. So if I wanted to handwrite it, I've got the ability to write with I'm just writing with my little touchpad there.
Yep.
If I wanted to say it, I could get my voice up 1/3 and I can say my maths. But if I wanted to, I've got to remember, always got to remember to turn that speech off before you keep talking. I could write over and and then put it in a more traditional way this way. So there's lots of different ways that it's given to be able to do that.
That's cool. So the students kind of using the graphics and stuff on the math space, but when they come to write the actual what they want to write, the equation or the actual numeral or the fraction, because we know in a digital world it's really hard to do that. They've got multiple options they could use. I think you just use predictive text there. You use handwriting recognition. You use your voice to do it as well. And so it's not just one size fits all, is it? It's actually, there's a whole bunch of ways that kids can do this.
And then over here, I've got all of these tools, like 1/3. I'm not showing 1/3 there, where I can actually change the number of segments and do all sorts of things to actually get that to match up. So, and that's one of our smart shapes that we've got here. So there's lots of things that they can do. And then all of those issues that they may have about trying to draw something or doing, if cutting's an issue for them or whatever it may be, digitally, they can digitally do all of this, and then we can share it with each other as well. So lots of nice there.
Yeah, so the math space is being shared with your students. They're then sharing it back to you as a teacher, showing what they've done, and you've got all that information. That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel as if it's just the tip of the iceberg, really, when it comes to kind of this.
Absolutely.
So we've got a new web page, don't we, for our team here based in Asia Pac, where we're putting up lots of recorded videos from webinars and presentations we've done, and there's a whole section there for EquatIO. So what we might do at the bottom of the screen here, we actually might put in a link to that that video page. So if folks want to know more about EquatIO, they can go there and check it out.
Absolutely. So we've got a really nice short little 30-minute video that'll run them through all the basics of EquatIO, and then we've also got one that'll run them through the basics of the maths-based web app as well.
Great.
There's so many bits and pieces to it that, yeah, you can do them both separately.
Yeah. So this is off the cuff. I was just thinking next week what we should do in then episode 3 is maybe with that in mind and how we've just touched on universal design. Next week for learning, we might dive a bit deeper into maybe engagement, multiple ways to engage students, and we'll look at some of our tools, how that supports that. So I look forward to actually chatting more about that next week.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Fiona.